the next year when it came around in 2008, my wife is the one who said, hey, they're having that songwriting competition.
Yolanda, by the way.
Yolanda, my wife, yeah. Mm-hmm. That thing Scott won last year. They're doing it again. And she said, and I really want you to enter a song. I'm like, a song contest? I've had 20 number one songs. I'm entering in a song contest. And she goes, yeah, just do it. And then, I always say, she literally said, bro, you got nothing else going on.
Wives are good at that.
Yeah. Welcome to a podcast about music and entertainment. Before it all goes down the disposal, this is Circling the Drain.
Hey, welcome back into Circling the Drain, the podcast that we talk about everything. It talk about radio, entertainment, music, you name it. Jay Harper's over there. Jay, how are you doing, my brother?
Always doing well when I'm with you, Johnny B.
Same right back at you. And Jim McCarthy piloting this ship.
My honor.
That's my honor too, sir.
Likewise.
My name's John E. Bozeman. Some people know me as Johnny B. We got a special guest today. In fact, I thought, we've had so many so many episodes where we're talking about all the sinful things we do, the horrible things we've done in radio and all, especially me. I mean, I'm talking more me than you two guys. But I thought we'd elevate it a little more and bring somebody in that I think the world of. And that is Regie Hamm, singer-songwriter.
Oh,
good to have you with us, sir. Yeah. Elevate, baby.
Yeah. First of all, I feel like I need to talk like this with you guys.
That's right.
I've never been in a room with so many great voices.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Yes.
I think we can advertise anything in this room.
That's right.
Call me now.
Yes. Bruce Bennett Nissan. All right. Operators are standing by.
Look at that. Come on. Right now. Every product in America, you're missing the opportunity of a lifetime.
You really are.
We're all here.
If you want to support this program
in a world
right there, we've got the voices that can.
We've got it.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly. So what in the hell are you waiting for? Come on. That's what
the
we're
lines are open now.
But Regie has been around quite a while with us. I actually got to know Regie through the Phil Valentine show.
Yeah.
And the big thing that kind of brought us to him was the big song that you had on American Idol that you won.
Yeah.
The song of the year, which was The Time of My Life. Yeah.
Well, actually, so the way Phil and I became friends was through a song called Infidels.
Yes.
So when my debut record came out in 2003,
American Dreams,
yeah, and there's this, this big story behind it and all of that, but when it came out, 3 days after it released, my wife and I flew to China to adopt our first daughter. And that was very dramatic. And there's, like I said, a big story about it that relates to the American Idol song and all that. It was a book, and they're trying to turn it into a movie and all that. But while we were gone, my management team was, I had a single that was in the top 20 on the Billboard charts when I left for China. And I was supposed to come home and open for Cher. I was supposed to open for the Goo Goo Dolls on a European tour, open for like Willie Nelson on a few dates. It was all like lined up. The whole, this was March of 2003, and the rest of the year was booked.
Yeah.
And so my management was like sending songs to different radio. There was a lot of syndicators picking up songs, and I had different kinds of songs on the record, and it was just kind of creating interest here and there and whatever. And I got home, and I'll never forget it. My phone started buzzing. This is back when we had flip phones. My phone started buzzing. I answer it, and it's a guy from CSAC, the Performance Rights Organization. A friend of mine there, and he goes, "Hey, Phil Valentine is like talking about you right now. I don't know if you know this, but you might want to call in the show." I'm like, "Phil Valentine, the radio guy?" He goes, "Yeah, he's talking about you."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh, okay." So I closed the phone. Literally, it buzzes again. I open it, and it's my dad. He goes, "Hey, Phil Valentine's talking about you right now." I said, "I know. Somebody told me." He goes, "Yeah, you might want to call in. He's He's like asking about you. I said, okay, close the phone. Third call, my manager. Hey, you got to call Phil Valentine right now. I said, okay. I had heard Phil. I actually had followed the whole tax protest.
Yeah,
thing, which I thought was fantastic.
Yes, it was.
And I told him many times, like that was more game changing than you think it was. Or maybe he did know how important it was, but. I thought it was great. And Pamela Furr had been a friend of mine for years, and so I kind of followed him through that. Anyway, my management had apparently, while we were in China, had sent you guys the record American Dreams, and particularly the song Infidels.
Yes, we played it a lot.
And Phil played it and was like, I don't know what to think about this guy. I don't know where he is on the political spectrum, but this song is cracking me up. And Reggie, if you're out there, call in the show. You know what I mean?
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I did, and we had a great conversation on air just from the phone. And then when that ended, when that segment ended, just off the air, it was either you or him said, "Hey, you need to come in the studio one day and let's have a longer conversation." So we did that, and then. I don't know. Phil and I just became buddies, and we would go to lunch occasionally and just talk about everything.
Yeah,
and it wasn't all politics. In fact, very little of it was politics.
No, that's the truth. Anytime you spend any time with him away from the show, it was usually either about Tar Heel basketball or music.
Yeah.
Or
ideas.
Or ideas.
I remember one conversation, the last time we had lunch together was at Jay Alexander's, and we just talked about everything, just all kinds of ideas. And that's where I am. Like I'm about ideas. I'm not really about politics. The politics of the moment changes. The people definitely change.
Yes.
And it's the ideas really to me that are the most important thing. And I think Phil felt the same way. Obviously, his job was to talk about the topics at hand, which he did a great job. Both of you guys did a great job of that. But we talked about everything under the sun, and it's funny because I was telling my dad last night, we were talking about Phil and how much we missed him on the radio.
Yeah,
and your show. And I said, a lot of people don't know this, but when Phil would say, a friend of mine just texted me and said blah 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 blah, it was almost always me.
So you were basically doing show prep for him.
Absolutely. So like I would usually take I walk 3 miles a day, and I would usually take my walk during the first hour of his show.
Yeah.
And listen, and he would say something. He would tee it up. So and so happened or whatever, and I would text him, yeah, but this and that, and then. The next segment would come around, and he would, a friend of mine just texted me and said, and it was such a rush for me to know
that was a good imitation of his little chuckle. He would
The last one I texted him, I'll never forget it. And the reason I remember it is because it was the last one. But he was talking about Zuckerberg losing money from Facebook because people were at some point boycotting because of he was censoring people, this back in those days. And I texted him, I said, if Zuckerberg gets below 50 billion, he won't be able to get laid anymore. And I thought to myself, there's no way he'll say this on the air.
And he did.
And he's like, a friend of mine just texted. If Zuckerberg gets below 50 billion, he won't be able to get laid anymore. And I was like, yes.
I didn't realize how much show prep you were doing.
You were like a staff writer.
Yeah, you really were.
Man, it was so much fun. And he would just and he would text me back. And I still have the last text he sent me. I can't bring myself to get rid of it. But we were texting about Condoleezza Rice and something she said and this and that. And anyway, I didn't mean to get off on that.
Oh, no, that's fine.
But that's how Phil and I met through Infidels.
Yes.
And then he actually became a fan of all the other music. And I played at his 50th birthday party, and I played
remember
at his,
that.
Yeah, something else, and he did a couple of charity things for us, like
The Bella Bashes.
Bella
yeah.
Bash. He was at several of those, and the last one, the Bourbon Bash we did, he was at that, and I mean, we were just friends, and I still occasionally keep in touch with Susan just to check on her, just to see how she's doing, how the kids are doing. And he was always, and I'm going to use this word again, always available to me if I needed to promote a show, if I needed to, we were doing some kind of charity thing. He never turned me down.
No.
Never one time. And man, when you find a friend like that, in those days in particular, when radio was basically king and you had to be on the radio to get your word out.
Right.
As an artist, if you found somebody like that who was in your camp like that, you just never forgot that.
Well, that's the whole thing with him, and we won't make this all about Phil, but when he believed in you, or if he loved you, he would do anything for you.
Yeah.
That's why I've told people many times that I've seen him help out so many people.
Yeah.
And I'm talking people from all walks of life. It's not just somebody that's on the conservative side where he was. He was that way with everybody.
Yeah.
If you were good to him, he gave it back tenfold.
Yeah.
He was that kind of individual.
Yeah, he was a really good man, and really, and a talent in that space too.
Oh yeah,
man,
definitely.
people forget that's its own ability,
Oh, it's not as easy. People think, you just get on the air and you talk.
Yeah.
No, it's an art, and he was the greatest.
And
I've
it's funny because, again, talking about the whole conversation with my father last night was about people who have that ability.
Yes.
And it's the ability to go, and I was telling him, I've been in entertainment my whole life, and my dad has been in entertainment, and we were talking about how it's this ability right here. Man, I'm going to listen to this for 3 minutes, and then I'm going to turn it off because I don't have time to listen to this the rest of the day. You look at your watch. You know what? I'm going to listen 3 more minutes, and then I promise I'm going to turn it off because I can't. Dang it. I got it. Okay. I'll listen 3 more minutes. That is what that's what the ability to do that is.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people with great minds, great voices, whatever, but for some reason, it's real easy to turn them off, whether that's a musician, whether that's a voice talent, whether that's a novelist, a filmmaker, whatever. It's the person who has the ability to keep you on the line 1 more minute.
Well, you probably learned that a lot too from your own father because he was a Pentecost minister, was he not?
And an amazing one.
Yes.
And my dad was deep into human behavior and all the stuff, all these hacks that we're like into online. He was doing this stuff in the 70s. Like he knew exactly how long the human attention span was. He knew exactly how you have to turn a story at 1 minute, 30 seconds. You know what I mean? He was very detailed in all that. And my father could preach for 90 minutes and you felt like it was like 2 minutes. You felt like, man, I haven't been here that long. You had, because he just wove the story. So it wasn't eloquence. It was like, man, I gotta keep hearing what this guy, I don't know why I'm still listening to this.
Yeah,
but
what's coming next?
Yeah, but I can't stop. And he had that ability, still has that ability, but in his prime, it was almost a miracle. I mean, I've seen my dad hold 10,000 people spellbound for 2 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, how's he doing this? How are these people not leaving? But they wouldn't, man. Nobody would get it. Nobody wanted to go to the bathroom. It's like, I can't miss what's next.
Right.
That's the essence of it right there. If you have that ability, you can apply that to anything, any stage, any activity. You can be a car salesman, and if you've got that ability to keep them in the office 1 more minute, like, I just think this deal's going to be great. I don't know why, but this guy's got me feeling like, you know what I mean? That's
Did you buy a car from me? I mean,
I might have bought.
I spellbound.
I would have, dude. I would have bought a car from you.
We'd buy one right now, Jim.
Well, as a matter of fact, there, Johnny, come on down to Bruce Bennett Nissan.
Well, you started with your dad too, did you? Now you're playing drums.
Yeah.
Because we were talking before we came on, but we both kind of started in a because my father wasn't a preacher; he was a salesman, but he was also a singer, and he was a radio owner.
My dad was
singer.
a salesman too. He was just selling Jesus, baby.
Yeah, he was, and thank goodness for that.
Right.
But you started playing drums with him, so I'm sure you learned a lot.
Absolutely, yeah. My dad. So my dad was kind of a child prodigy guitar player. When he was 10, he was given to, and that's exactly what it was. He was basically signed over to a traveling evangelist in 1957 who traveled the world. And my father's job was to plug his guitar up in some place. Great example, London. Okay. They're in the middle of London. My dad finds an outlet to plug his amp in.
Yeah.
On the street corner in London. He plugs his amp in. He's 10 years old. I guess when they were in London, he was 13. But anyway, he plugs it in. He sings and plays. He busks, basically.
Yeah.
And gets a crowd. And when the crowd is big enough, the evangelist he was touring with would literally put a soapbox down. They literally carried a soapbox. People say, I'm up on my soapbox. That's what this comes from. Yeah. Evangelists doing this, street preachers doing this. This man would literally put a soapbox down, stand on the soapbox, and start preaching to this crowd.
Wow.
That's how my father was raised. And so he continued that on his own evangelistic team by the time he was 20 and had a group called the World Challenge Singers, and they toured the country and played and sang. And my dad was the minister. And then when that disbanded, and so I was raised on that bus with that group. I tell people, I don't know when I learned to play an instrument. Like I just always known how to play.
Yeah.
People ask me, when did you start playing? I don't know. I don't remember not knowing. So we moved to Atlanta. My dad took a church to pastor, and the drummer for the church he was on his honeymoon. We weren't going to have a drummer. And I said, well, Mom, I'll play. I'm 5.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, honey, I know you will. I said, no, seriously, I'll play.
Yeah.
And she looks at my dad. I know what the look is now, but then I was just getting the social cues. But the look meant, I think he's serious. My mom she's like, okay. So we got to church early. She goes, okay, jump up there. Let's play something real quick before people get here. And man, we started rocking something, and she's like, okay, yeah, he'll play.
He's part of the key.
And so I was officially at that point the backup drummer from 5 to like 7, and then I was the official drummer once my legs got long enough to reach the kick pedal, and I could actually. I used to only be able to like grab the hammer, the kick pedal,
yeah, right.
And I could pull it back, and I could get a kick every like 3 or 4 measures, I could, and
that took some talent, man.
Yeah. So I got it like a little bit of a one of those things, I could do that. Anyway, when I was 7, I started, I pretty much was the full-time guy. And then at 10, we went back on the road as the Hamm family, and I played drums and sang lead.
Wow.
Yeah.
So and did you? I know you guys did these. We talked about it, but a lot of people don't know about the all-night sing-a-thons or the all-night singing.
Yep.
And man, those things and people. Because I was in Hot Springs, Arkansas one time, and I won't say what the guy said, but apparently there was a husband there that had never been to an all-night singing. He probably thought, it's probably going to last about midnight. Whatever. Found out they last all night.
That's
long.
why they call them all night, baby.
Yeah, I mean it's sun's coming up. They're still playing.
Yep. Oh yeah, we did a lot of this. We did. I've been in a lot of tent revivals.
Yes,
like more than you would think. But we did this one all night thing. We did it for 3 years. We did it in a place called Fields of the Wood, North Carolina, and this is a Christian gospel theme park in North Carolina, way back in the woods in the sticks. And it's this mountain. They call it 10 Commandment Mountain.
Yeah.
It's literally a mountain. And they have the 10 Commandments carved in stone, like huge letters, bigger than a person, all the 10 Commandments on this, all the way down this mountain. And then it's like lined with stone, around it. And then there are steps going right up the middle of all the commandments. You can go all the way to the top. And the kids would get, the thing was to get to the top and then try to get back down, like without the steps, right?
Yeah.
But somebody would inevitably like trip and fall and just roll down the mountain, like hit every commandment on the way down, all those stones.
It's a good way to learn them.
Yeah, and we would learn, and so I learned all the commandments by like literally falling over them. I have no other gods before me. I steal, And but at the base of this mountain, we would set up a tent, and for 3 years we were the host artist, and we'd park our bus or motorhome, whatever we were traveling in at the time, next to this tent. And our family would start the all-night thing at sundown, 6 or 7, whatever it was.
Right.
And we would do 45 minutes to an hour to open it. And then all of these groups from the backwoods of North Carolina would come out of the woodwork, and they would do their stuff. And man, it was unbelievable. Some of it was great. Some of it was like true, like undiscovered brilliance, And then at midnight, we would do another set, to kind of rev it back up. And then then you had the next round of these performers from, say 1 a.m. to 4 or whatever. Mm. And then as the sun was coming up, we did our last set as the sun was coming up. And then they did an Easter pageant on this mountain. But yeah, man, we did that 3 years, and we did a lot of that stuff, and then we played really high end stuff. We played toward the end of it. My dad was becoming pretty well known. We played arenas, and this really cool center in Detroit once that was like real high end, and we played. There were these 2 like performing arts centers in Virginia. And we were in one, and the Sugar Hill Gang was in the other. I don't know if you remember the Sugar Hill Gang.
I do. Yeah.
And I met Wonder Mike. Like I just stood out in the lobby and like hung out with Wonder Mike. Wonder Mike is the guy who invented the term hip hop. Wonder Mike. I am Wonder Mike, and I'd like to say hello. To the white, something in yellow. I said hip hop. He said it. That's Wonder Mike. He's the guy that said. And so it was a weird way to grow up, a fun way to grow up. Sometimes I've got some stories that people don't believe, but they absolutely happened.
So were you homeschooled?
Yeah, some of it.
Yeah.
Part of it. I was tutored in the 2nd grade. I was part of a homeschool thing from like my sophomore year till I graduated. So it was kind of all over the place. Few years I was in public school, but every year I was in public school, my father had a meeting with the principal, and my brother and I were given 3 tours we could do. And all of our teachers were informed that they had to get lesson plans ready for us for these 3 tours. And so even when I was in public school, I knew, okay, well, in October, I'm going to be gone, those 3 weeks. And my mom's got the lesson plans from and then in February, we're going to be into, whatever. And so we had a schedule like that. So it was odd, and my school experience was sporadic and, I don't know. It was fine, but it was weird. It wasn't everybody else's.
You couldn't have played sports, I guess, even if you'd wanted to.
That was a big point of contention. My dad had a very, very strict rule that we could play 1 year of each sport. So you can play 1 year basketball, 1 year baseball, 1 year football. That's it. And a lot of it had to do with our hands. He's like, you can't risk messing your hands up. and it was a big deal. Like you take care of those hands because you need those hands. My brother and I both. So I played 1 year of football where I stayed on the bench because I was hurt all the time. My knees were just I played running back for 1 year, but man, my knees were just, I had water on the knees all the time. And that's when I realized I don't have the body for this sport.
Yes.
You know?
I totally get that.
You gotta almost be a little bit of a,
Masochist.
Yeah. You gotta love pain. And I did not love pain.
I'm with you.
And I played baseball, I think when I was like little league baseball. And then I've actually played basketball a little bit more than the rest of it. But once I got in high school, and then I ran track in high school, he was fine with us doing that. And I ran track for 3 years and wrestled when I got in high school. But that didn't really that was no impact. So, and didn't really have any impact on my hands, you know. But yeah, so it was kind of like that.
School was a haphazard, you know, it was
a necessary evil. Johnny.
Exactly.
It was like, we got to do this, but we get to do it our way. And, you know,
yeah, exactly.
And we didn't put a lot of stock in it. You know, and this just is the thing, like, okay, so I can sit in a class and I can learn about Bunker Hill, but I'm going to be in New Jersey next week at Bunker Hill.
Yeah.
So why don't I just learn about it there? You know, and it was a lot of that. You know, I would read about this stuff like in, you know, this American history stuff. And it's like, yeah, I mean, I was there in the summer.
Exactly.
I saw Readout 10. I know how the American Revolution ended. I actually have 8mm video of me charging Readout 10. I know that the French showed up on this, you know, because I saw it all.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so that you don't forget. You'll forget all the stuff you learn in
definitely.
school, but you don't forget, you know. And I took that into my parenting style. I really parented my son that way. He wasn't a performer with me, but I took him as many places as I could take him, and we would go see stuff and talk about it. And you know, this is the way they teach it, but this is kind of how it really went down.
Yeah,
they're standing over there, and then they, you know, and you know, we live in Nashville is a great place for that.
Oh, it is. There's so much history here.
Yeah, absolutely. So
what brought you, I mean, what was what brought you out of working with your family to becoming the songwriter you are, the artist you are? Yeah. What brought you to Nashville?
Well, a bull auction in South Dakota, basically, was our last show as a family.
Wow.
We were hired to play a bull auction out in the middle of nowhere in South Dakota. And they put a piece of plywood down in the middle of the ring where all the bulls were brought in. And they handed us one plug, and we could do that. We could handle that. And they handed us this one plug, and they're like, there's your electricity. And, you know, so we set up on this 10 by 10 piece of, or it was probably 2 4x8, actually. I think that's what it was. So it ended up being like 8 by whatever. 8 by 8. And
because I spoiled you.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a picture of it in my office because the local paper snapped a picture, and so I have that clipping in my office. Cool. It was our last show as the family. I was 17, and it was just horrible. It was just the worst gig you can. And I was I was jaded by then. You know, by then I was just like, man, I got to get through this set, you know. No 17-year-old should be going, I got to get through this set. You know what I mean? When you're 17, you should be like, I'm doing it again.
And on top of that,
God, okay,
you're still the drummer at this point.
I'm still the drummer singing lead. I'm on song 4. Okay, I can do it, you know.
And you're on an unstable platform.
An unstable platform.
So all your stuff's moving.
Yeah, and I'm sliding off here and there, and I'm in, you know, bull crap, you know, and so then it starts raining during the show. We can hear it. Oh,
that's always great.
We got a tin roof, so it's off of us, but we can hear it. It's like, okay. And I know loadout is going to be awful, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So that's all I'm thinking about now. I'm here in the rain, and all I'm thinking about now is loadout's going to be awful. And sure enough, man. And so Dad backs the trailer up that we kept all the stuff in to the pin, you know. And we're like as fast as we can. They're like, hey, we need to get in here and start, we're like going as fast as we can to get everything in. And I have the last piece of gear. I have the monitor mixer in my hand. I will never forget this. And I am running with this mixer to get to the trailer. I slip and fall in the pen, and I'm just covered in bullcrap.
Yeah.
And I stand up and try to get, and they had brought the first bull in, and the bull is coming at me.
Oh no!
And I'm covered in the stuff, and I've got this, and the only thing on my mind is protect the gear.
Yes.
Right? That's when you've been raised. I got to protect the gear.
Brainwashed.
Yeah, exactly. So
not think about your own safety.
yeah, I'm like, I might die, but I gotta make sure this gear gets in the trailer.
Yes.
So I get out of the pen, and I'm wet. I've gotten rained on now. I've gotten stuff on me, and I get in the van. I slam the door, and I said, I am done. And Dad knew. He's like, you okay? I said, no, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And now, let me say this: in my dad's defense, my dad never forced us to do any of it. It wasn't a Joe Jackson situation. I mean, my dad was always very clear: you boys don't ever want to do this. You don't have to. This is my thing.
Yeah.
And I want you with me, but you don't have to be. And that's when I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And he never wavered. He said, that's totally fine, son. He said, I get it. And that was it. That was the end of that was the last show we did as a family band.
Well, I don't blame you because I remember when I worked with my dad, it was always a crapshoot where you were going to play because what he did, he used his radio station. It was out in Kansas. And back in those days, Kansas didn't get a lot of entertainment. Right. So he would hire a big country star and then bring his troupe along.
He would open for him.
Yeah, we opened for them. But I remember my first gig, it was in a place called Coldwater, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
And we were outside, and it just happened there was a severe thunderstorm that was blowing up about the time we were setting everything up. So they made the grand decision to put us in the high school.
Yeah.
But the high school had been shut up all summer, and it was like 100 degrees.
Right.
And they did not have air conditioning.
Right.
And we go in, and we put on this show, and when as we're coming out on stage, me and this singer, they introduce us. There's not one hand clap, nothing. The audience is angry.
Yeah.
They're hot. They had to wait.
That kind of a thing?
Yeah, it was. And they even, the MC goes, oh, no, boys, go back out. Let's give these boys a big hand.
You literally had to walk out and walk back.
Yeah, and they had one that was going, okay, I'll give them a...
Yeah.
You always got the person in the background that was like...
Yes.
So anyway, what brought you to Nashville? What got you to
Well, I mean, we were from
here?
Nashville. So I basically came home. I mean, I'm like a fifth generation native. So
wow, that's kind of unheard of.
I know.
This place.
Yeah. So I went to 1 year of junior college. Johnny, where I carried a solid 2.0 grade average. Dropped out of college and I realized because I was in bands in college and all I was doing was chasing girls and making music. And I was like, I can do this without paying a college,
Exactly.
So I left college after my freshman year, moved to Nashville because I knew this is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a studio player. I wanted to be a session drummer. And I came to town with my set of drums and my little pickup truck and just started hustling. And I was circulating tapes that I was playing drums on to try to get drum work. Mm-hmm. And I had written the songs on the tapes, which to me was like incidental. Like I didn't really care about that. I wanted people to hear my drumming.
Right.
And I kept getting calls about the songs. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm playing drums. And they're like, yeah, we don't care about that. We care about the songs. Yeah. And finally it dawned on me, oh, you're mainly a songwriter, and you're okay. And my dad used to tell me, I used to get mad at him. He's like, you know what? You're a good drummer, but you're a great songwriter. And I'd get really pissed off at him for that. But he was right. or at least he was right about the drum part. Anyway, that sent me down the road of focusing on the songwriting, and then when I got successful enough as a songwriter, that's when I actually realized. I mean, I had always wanted to be an artist. That was the thing. That was the ultimate goal. But I felt like, well, I think I could be a session drummer until I can do that, and I think I could, maybe I need to be in a band to make that happen. Because I'm not really the lead singer, But then when I got enough success in the music business, I went, oh, I just need to do this myself because I don't really care if these other people are singing my songs. And I'm always appreciative, but it's not my goal.
It's not the same.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not really, you just write different songs when you're writing them for other people.
Yeah.
So I gave myself permission one year. I was a staff writer at this company, and I was like, I'm just going to write whatever I want. I don't want no radio involved, no success involved. I don't care if they ever get recorded. I just want to say what I want to say. So I had about 13 of these songs, and I started going in and just paying to record them myself. And that's the American Dreams record.
Man, that is a fantastic record.
It really is.
Wow,
It
thank
really
you.
is.
In fact, my favorite on there is Shelby Street Bridge.
Oh,
I
man.
love that tune.
Well, it's a true story. So Shelby Street Bridge, when I was in this year of college, it was in a little town called Cleveland, Tennessee, just outside of Chattanooga.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was driving back.
Yeah, I do their live stream of their sports at
Oh, you do?
Cleveland State.
Okay, yeah.
So I know Cleveland well.
Yeah, so Cleveland, I lived there for a few years when my dad was a national evangelist for this church. That's where we lived when I was from age 10 to 15. And then I moved back there to go to this college. And we were, my college roommate and I were visiting Nashville for some reason. We'd come up here for something, and we were driving back. And the pickup, the aforementioned pickup,
Yeah.
had a blowout under the Shelby Street Bridge. It was on Interstate 65 North, we were on North going south trying to hit 24, and I just pulled off the road. This is before Shelby Street Bridge was a walking bridge. This is way back in the 80s, and I pull under the bridge because it was a little drizzle going, and I was trying to get out of the rain, and what are we going to do with this? So we pull under the bridge, and there's this van kind of staring at us on the side of the road. And these guys, it's like a movie, like all the doors open and all these dudes jump out. I'm like, uh-oh, what's going on? And, it's two 18-year-olds.
Back in those days, Nashville wasn't like it.
Yeah, people forget.
Yeah, it's like I told, I think I was on another interview on a podcast somewhere, and they asked me what Nashville was like then. And I said, well, if you went out at night on Lower Broad, you were among criminals and prostitutes, basically.
Listen, okay, I thought about this the other night because I was down on 2nd. And I remember vividly, my friends and I would drive to 2nd Avenue, and the crucible, like the proving you were a man,
yes,
was walking to the end of 2nd and back and making it.
Yes. Yes.
We literally would do that. We'd go down to the bottom of 2nd and go, okay, who can do it?
Yeah.
And, and one of us would try, and, I got up, I got 6 blocks by, I just couldn't, Anyway, I'm under the Shelby Street Bridge, all these doors open in this van, these guys get out, they're wearing it looks like army surplus clothes,
Yeah.
And they're all long hair, they got beards and whatever. And they come up, they're like, hey man, you need help with your tire? I'm like, I guess,
I may have been one of those guys.
You might have been. And this one dude was sort of clearly the leader, he was like, okay, dude, you go, blah, blah, blah. He was giving orders.
Yeah.
And it felt kind of quasi-military at that point,
Yeah.
And they all introduced themselves, really nice guys. They were all Vietnam vets.
Wow.
And they helped me change the tire. Hey, come on back to the van, man. So and they lived in this van. And this dude, the leader, me and my buddy sat kind of in their van, and he's like, where are you guys headed? And we're like, well, we're going back to college. He's like, man, F that. You need to tune out, man. You need to drop out. You need to tune in and drop out. Whatever the phrases were back there, He's like, nah, man, you don't need to go back to college. You need to do this. And we're like, what is this? And he's like, and he spent the next 20 minutes preaching the gospel of homelessness to us. And he's like, you don't need a house, man. You don't need a car. You need a van that you can like keep the sun off of you, keep the rain off of you, man. And some of those lines in Shelby Street Bridge are exactly from his mouth. Like Sullivan's Ridge is where he was from.
Yeah.
And he literally told me, man, one day I'm going to get back up to Sullivan's Ridge. That's where I'm from. And the firstborn son, he's like, yeah, I'm the oldest of 3 or whatever. And the thing, if I wake up in the mood, I work for food. He like literally said that to me. Like, man, you can get a sign. Like we got the sign here. It says, we'll work for food. People will stop and give you money. And, sometimes you go to their house and you do stuff for them. I'm telling you, man, this is the way to live. And dude, he preached this. He was like really adamant about don't plug into society. Stay on the edges of it. Right. Kind of an off the grid. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, man, now that I've got a wife and kids and a mortgage, I'm not sure he wasn't right about all
I was just thinking, as you're saying this, I thought, well, he was ahead of his time, really.
Sounds really appealing.
Yeah. Well, it's very interesting, too, when you talked about this, because I remember when you gave us that CD, I remember going into Phil and saying, I love Shelby Street Bridge. I said, for some reason, it really reminds me of a John Lennon. What something John Lennon would write.
Oh, wow. That's
what I thought. Dude, yeah.
That's high praise. I appreciate that.
Oh, I just fell in love with it, man.
Well, it was, it's a true story. And it's one as a songwriter, you tuck these things away. And I remember tucking that one away going, okay, I got to find a way to make a song out of this.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to do it, but it was, about 10 years later, I think I was just at the piano and I came up with this little riff and I started singing a melody over it. And I saw that event in my head. And I was just like, he called himself a native. And it just kind of went from there, And I realized, I know what the song is. The song is just him telling me about all this, And all of it's the other thing that's true is him, I sold it for some blow a year ago after my brother died. He told the same thing. Like he had a Harley Davidson and he sold it to buy cocaine to kind of cope with his brother's death.
Man.
And so all of it, there's some stuff that I filled in the gaps, but most of it is like what straight out of this guy's mouth. I just made it rhyme.
Awesome. Awesome story. Well, you also had a hit off that, really, that album. American.
Well, yeah, Babies was the thing that
Delilah kind of.
Yeah.
Was that
Yeah. So Delilah picks up this song Babies, which was my least favorite song on the record. It was the last one recorded. I didn't want to put it on the record, but every time I would play live, women would request this song and just lose their mind.
It always works that way, doesn't it?
Dude. And so I'd play what I'm thinking are the cool songs.
Yeah.
And some woman would go, would you play Babies? Oh, gosh. So finally, a friend of mine, great songwriter friend of mine, his wife pulled me aside at a club one night and she said, kind of put her finger in my face. She goes, if you know what's good for you, you will record that song. I'm telling you, that's the one. And I said, okay, Jane. So I did, and it cost less money to produce. I mean, like we literally went in and me and Kent Hooper just went in and kind of did it. I kind of played we just did it, and we did it in a couple of days, just because it's just how I would have it to give to people,
Yeah.
And that was another thing that my manager had sent Delilah that, and she heard it the day she adopted her son TK. Or was going to, trying to decide if she's going to do it. She gets this song and it freaked her out. And she's like, this is the sign that I'm supposed to adopt my son.
Wow.
And he's, 25, 26 now, strapping young man. But she started playing it. And it's as I understand it, and I had her on my podcast a couple years ago. And she told me then, it is still to this day the most requested song she's ever had on her show.
Wow.
Yeah. So
power of radio.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of catapulted it into that, and that's when they started sending songs to all these syndicators, and Phil got infidels through that.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And we played the heck out of that one.
Yeah, that one got me beheading threats. And all kinds of,
We also tried the Infidel Report. Remember when we were doing
yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely.
Way back when? We kind of did like 2 episodes.
Let's see who should I piss off in the world? How about the Muslims? Let's do that.
Yeah. They're pretty understanding.
Yeah,
They get it.
I don't think they'll get too upset about it.
no, they're fine.
They're known to be amenable.
Yes. Well, it was around this time, too, that wasn't this around the time that you went to adopt your daughter
Yeah,
in
yes.
China?
Yeah, so the story goes, my release date for American Dreams was March 18th, 2003, and we get a phone call from the service we had gone through to adopt. This had been going on for 18 months. We didn't know that they were even going to pick us, you know.
Yeah.
And we had to leave on March 21st to go to China. So
Oh, wow.
debut record drops, song in the top 20, supposed to tour with Cher on March 18th. Oh, by the way, you got to be in China on the 22nd.
Oh, man.
So and by the way, the other thing that happened, I wrote about this in the book, Angels and Idols, that talks about this, but the Gulf War started while we were in the air. We are
timing.
Yeah, exactly. We are literally like, getting our bags checked, and I'm looking up at CNN, and George Bush is like, and we will commence operations. So, we're like, are they going to be shooting people down? Like, you just think about that stuff. Like, you don't know. You're in international airspace. You don't know how it's all going to play out. So the Gulf War starts while we're in the air. Anyway, we got to China, and they handed us a little girl a week later, with one of the rarest genetic disorders on the planet. And that really just changed my entire life, my wife's entire life, and the whole trajectory of my career and what I'm about as a person. And it's not even, people say it's night and day. It's like night and Mars.
Yes.
It's not even night and day. It's night and another planet. Really, she has Angelman syndrome. So she's missing a piece of a chromosome, and she can't speak. She can't bathe herself, feed herself. She's 24-hour care. She can walk. If she came into this room, you might think she's relatively typical, until she started reaching for your glasses and pulling your hair and, all this stuff. That she also has autism, so she's dual diagnosed. So she has all the tics of Angelman syndrome and then all the kind of, difficult compulsions of autism. So there's a lot going on there with her. But we didn't know when we got her at 8 months. We had no idea. They didn't know. Nobody knew, and we didn't. We got her home, and when we got back to the United States, all the dates had been canceled. The single died. It all went away.
Yeah.
In 3 weeks, and then that's when the story starts. Because then it's like, okay, now I'm scrambling to figure out what do I do now? I left my cushy songwriter job, and nobody really wants me back there, and I fell in this weird no man's land of now nobody really wants. They don't know me enough as an artist to book me for those dates. I don't know what to do. I think that's why I still, back to Phil, but I always had a soft spot for you guys because you didn't care about any of that, and you always had me on, and that was great. And it was like I felt like, okay, I'm kind of back to being who I am. But for the next 5 years, we didn't know what she had. We didn't have the diagnosis. We didn't know what the hell was going on with our life. It was just spiraling out of control. And that's when the American Idol opportunity came up.
That's fantastic. Tell that story if you could.
Yeah. So
how that all came about.
Yeah. So for 2 years, 2007 and 2008, they had songwriting competitions in tandem with the singing competition. Not a lot of people know that. In 2007, a friend of mine won, named Scott Kerpane, brilliant songwriter. And that's the only reason I didn't watch American Idol, but my daughter loved the bad singers. So she would, we would have it on so that she could enjoy that.
Yeah.
And then I saw that finale. And I saw my friend Scott when? And I'm like, oh, that's awesome, you know? And then I talked to him, I don't know, maybe 3 months later, and he's like, yeah, it was, you know, it was a pretty cool thing, you know? Jordan Sparks did my song, and, you know, we got an iTunes single out of it, and that's it. Like, that's the only conversation we ever had about it. Mm-hmm. And it's the only reason I knew about it. And the next year when it came around in 2008, my wife is the one who said, hey, they're having that songwriting competition.
Yolanda, by the way.
Yolanda, my wife, yeah. Mm-hmm. That thing Scott won last year, they're doing it again. And she said, and I really want you to enter a song. I'm like, a song contest? I've had 20 number one songs. You know, I'm entering a song contest. And she goes, yeah, just do it. You know, and then, you know, I always say, she literally said, bro, you got nothing else going on.
Wives are good at that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, honey.
The honesty.
Wow. I love your honesty, but really, come on.
Yeah, reality bites for sure.
It just made me feel like a big, strong man.
You're not providing. Do it.
All I'm saying is you're not doing your basic, you know, stuff as a man. That's
you know
all
what
I'm
God
saying.
put you on the planet for? That thing? You're not doing that. But no offense.
No, it's just the basics. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's not the above and beyond stuff. You're not even doing like the basics.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I love you.
You know,
but you're just not doing the basics.
There's like a slug, and then there's you right here. Just a little slug.
So I'm just trying to inspire you to write a song.
I mean, look, I'm not saying anything other than I regret my decision to marry you every day. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
You know,
don't read into it, Reggie.
If I can go back and ask myself, what were you thinking?
Look, I contemplate suicide and alcoholism 3 times a day. That's all I'm saying. Okay.
Only 3 times.
Yeah.
Only 3 times.
Don't make this more than it is. Okay. Just write a song.
One little song.
Yeah.
American Idol.
And it's got to be a mega hit.
Yeah. And if you could please, you know.
Yeah, and then take out the trash. Okay.
Yes. Could you get to this trash too, please?
Don't want to bother you. I want to put you out.
And by the way, you know I love you, right? You know what I mean? You're the love of my life. You're just not taking care of the basic needs. Anyway, so yeah. Oh, we laugh because we can't cry.
That's right. And we've all been there.
We have all, yes.
Don't feel alone, Reggie.
Yes. Okay, good to know. So I said, well, okay, I'm gonna give it a shot. So, and we had just adopted. Our son was like 16 months old. We just adopted him, and he was like amazing. He's still amazing. He's in first year of college now, but he was just like.
Geez.
He brought this, we have, I know, right? We have this daughter with, this crazy condition, but then we got this little boy who's like this light, he's like lighting everything up and becoming the, the little rock star. And so I'm thinking about all this and I'm like, man, I think what I want to say is something about the moment that you have right now is important. And it's not about trying to get somewhere like I've been trying to get somewhere in my life. I think it's about these people who live in this house with me, this crazy little boy who I love and this miraculous little girl who is this mystery and this amazing woman who constantly reminds me of how I'm not doing the basics to take care of my family.
Showing the love.
Just loving me unconditionally while berating me. I kid.
Yes,
I only say it because it's true.
Reggie, if we could put a sound effect to your life right now, it would be okay.
Man, my wife is going to love this and hate this at the same time. She's going to laugh and be like, okay, they get it. And, you really should have my wife is hysterical. She is the funniest person I know. She's the person that needs to be doing these podcasts. She is so funny. Anyway, so I thought about all of that, and I was like, you know what, man? I'm just going to write this from that perspective. I don't know if it's going to fly with American Idol or these kids or whatever, but so I wrote the song, The Time of My Life, and turned it in on the day, man, on the deadline day.
Wow.
With my $10 entry fee. Had no idea. I didn't even know if I did it right. I was like, I think I got it uploaded right, but I'm not sure. And somebody from the company called me. They kind of knew me through a friend of a friend, and they called me and they said, hey, I just want to let you know your song did get Because I think I called somebody and said, hey, man, did I even do this right? Is it in there? And somebody just did call me, and it was like real cryptic. They're like, yes, we did get it. Click. And that was it. So the only interaction I had.
Well, that's the music business for you.
Yeah. And so, I just forgot about it, man. It was just like, okay, I did what my wife asked me to do. I can't do any more than that.
Yeah.
I think I did the best I could on this thing. And got a call. You're in the top 20. Again, real like terse. You're in the top 20. If you talk about it, you'll be disqualified. Click. It was so
It's like KGB.
Yeah, man. It was just so like, wait. Who are you?
Or a wife.
Right. We're a wife.
Yeah. KGB or my wife. And the whole time I'm like, who wait a minute. Wait. Who are you, dude? What's your name?
Yeah.
Who is this?
And so, so again, I'm like, so they put it up on a website. It was 20 songs. And I talked to Scott about it. I was like, man, what do I do? He goes, there's nothing to do. He goes, I'll tell you what you don't do. You don't read the blogs. I'm like, okay. I mean, I went right to the blogs.
Of course.
And they were scathing, man. Nobody was even talking about my song, all these other songs were supposed to win. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I lost that too. And then one of the trades did a breakdown of all the songs, and there were 20 songs. It did a breakdown of 19 songs.
My God.
And not mine. Like they didn't even do a thing. They didn't even say it was bad. They were just like, oh yeah, and then there's this other song. Like, wow. Not only did I lose this, like they don't even want to act like I'm in the room,
And they don't even remember the title.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah. So this song did this, and this song does that, and some of them had great soliloquies. Like this song it wraps us in its rapturous blah blah blah. Oh yeah, and then there's this other song, and I'm like, yeah. So first, okay. First my wife, now you guys. It's like,
we love you. Come on.
No, the bloggers, and so I was like, okay, I guess I lost that too. Anyway, I came home on I'll never forget, it was a Thursday. I came home and I was just tired, and we'd been up with my daughter for a couple of days. One of the things about Angelman syndrome is they have sleeping disorders when they're young. My daughter didn't sleep 2 hours a night for 5 years. And I was just dead. And I said, man, I'm going to take a nap. She goes, I think they're going to call you today. I think you're going to win this. I'm like, baby, I love that you love that you think that, but I'm going to take a nap. I took a 2-hour nap. I woke up and I had 36 voicemails, all 310 numbers. And I'm like, okay, that's LA.
Wow.
I either won this or I lost it. And so I called him, and the guy goes, literally, again, he goes, hey, man, you won. Okay, here's what's got to happen. And it was like, you got a USA Today interview in 2 hours. I'm like, whoa. What's your name, dude?
Yeah. Don't worry about it.
And so I win the contest. David Cook wins the year, and he was the dark horse. David Archuleta was like the favorite, but David Cook wins, and his version of my song becomes a single. Now, those coronation songs in those days were just like kind of a, flashing out. We sing it on the show that night, and then we move on to the next thing. But something happened with this one. It was just kind of the right moment at the right time, right song, right voice, and people lost their minds over it. And they crashed the iTunes server to get it. And so the company was like, well, wait a minute, we might have a hit on our hands. So they took it to radio. And it became like a 16-week #1 radio, global, all around the world kind of thing. And they used it in all of these packages. Like they used it on the ESPYs, and they used it on NBA Finals, and they used it on So You Think You Can Dance, and all these shows. And so here's the cool thing. When my wife and I had been in Beijing adopting our daughter, we got little hats that said 2008 Beijing Olympic Games. And we made a pact with 6 other families in Beijing. We're bringing our daughters back to Beijing for the Beijing Olympics in 08.
Oh, how cool.
And yep, we're all in. We're all going to do it. Well, obviously I lost everything. We lost I lost my platinum American Express card. There's no way we could have done that.
I told you to leave home without it.
I know. And then I did. I went and did it, Johnny. But on the 8th day of the 8th month of the 8th year of the new millennium, they closed the opening ceremony of the Beijing Olympic Games to my song.
Oh, how cool is that?
And it was like Bob Costa says, for all of us here at NBC, good night. And I heard the guitar strum, and it's like, what is happening right now? So we couldn't be there, but the song was there, and it was like speaking to the whole world. And so my wife and I just kind of sat in our living room and just sobbed. It's like, wow, we're there.
That's a God thing.
Yeah, that's special.
And they used it 7 more times. They used it as Michael Phelps' victory song.
Oh, wow.
So he won a record number of medals that year. So it was played, and then Oprah declared it like the official theme song of the Olympic Games. It became this thing. And so I wrote a blog about it. My manager at the time said, dude, you got to tell people about this. So I wrote a blog about it. It went viral, millions and millions of reshares and clicks and this and that, back when that was, back before this, and it was MySpace, and it was people literally sending it to each other's email,
Yeah.
And I got a call from a book publisher, and they said, we think this could be a great book. And I said, well, let me write you 3 chapters, because this is what the book's actually about. And so I sent them 3 chapters, like, we love it, finish it. So that was my first book. I wrote that. It came out in 2010.
Angels and Idols.
Angels and Idols.
Yeah.
And they've been trying to make a movie about this for a long time, for 15 years, and it gets traction, and then it loses traction. And I actually got a call tomorrow with a guy about it, but we're making the doc about it. We're making the documentary about it now, and David Cook is involved, and it's a little more than just our story. It's kind of expanding into the whole kind of American Idol experience. Mm-hmm. This experience, though, is kind of the behind the scenes thing you've never heard. Or the world has never heard. And that led me to just writing more books and that kind of thing, as opposed to just doing records. I mean, I still do it. I still make music, and I still go out and do shows, and I've got a new record I'm sitting on my computer right now. But it's really more for me about issues and things. It's so weird. I don't care a lot about political things, but my family, for whatever reason, is at the center of adoption, which has kind of become a thing. There's a whole movement to abolish adoption, believe it or not. Immigration, because my daughter is an immigrant, a legal immigrant.
Yes.
That we went through the process of immigration and we're still having to jump through hoops in that process. And special needs, because my daughter has Angelman syndrome, and the autism conversation. My daughter is in that world. So all of these weird, I don't know what you would call it, nexus points where politics is really hot, all these hot button issues. Like, my family's like in the middle of it, and it's like, I don't want to talk about it, but but you can't not talk about it. It's just, it informs everything. And, so I find myself writing about that stuff, and I started, because that blog went viral, it kind of sent me into becoming a blogger. And I think I have more people who know me as a blogger than know me as a music guy. And I've written 5 books, and it's just, it opened my world. Sometimes the thing that you think is going to destroy your life actually opens a door to a whole world you didn't know was in there.
Yeah, adds more to it.
Oh,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think about who I was before my daughter's adoption and before all this happened. And that guy really, I think he was a thoughtful guy. I think he was open to things. I don't think he was a bad guy, but I think there was just a lot he didn't know,
Yeah.
And I don't even know that I could have a conversation with that guy anymore, because it's just a lot of stuff he didn't know. And you just don't know what you don't know. I mean, I know that's a cliche, but it's really true. And so I'm thankful. I find myself in gratitude. So when the first question you asked me, how you doing? And I said, in some ways my life is better than it's ever been. And it's a lot of that. It's a lot just being thankful for things that I didn't even realize, were things you could be thankful for. You know?
Yes.
Reggie, do you find the blogs and the books and all that, is that therapeutic in some
all
ways?
therapy for me.
Yeah.
Well, songwriting has always been that for me. And so I've expanded that into blogging, and it's me getting clarity, man. That's what it is for me. And the books all sprung out of I had an idea. And my grandmother, man, I want everybody to hear this. My grandmother used to tell me this. If God gives you the idea, he gives you the responsibility.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. And she used to, just hammer that. If you get the idea, you have the responsibility. And so now every time I get an idea for something, I hear her words and I think, okay, I got to figure out how to do this, because this idea was entrusted to me. So the books really came from that. Just, I got an idea for this book. My nanny would not like it if I didn't, at least try to write it. So I don't know if I'm any good at it or not, but I certainly, I just love doing it. And so creatively, man, my life is so wonderful in that regard. I just feel like I'm 58. I feel more creative and more excited about that world than I ever have really in my life. Unfortunately, I look around and there's no way to make any kind of sense anymore. It's like all amorphous and, nobody listens, nobody buys music, nobody buys books. It's like all in this.
Oh, everything's
screen.
gone crazy.
And so I don't know really where to put all of it, but I sure do enjoy.
Yeah. And you still feel compelled to do it. So,
exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And I'm glad you are. I don't mean to I'm not blowing smoke up your rear end, but
you can,
that'd be quite a talent. But the thing is, ever since I was made aware of you, I have been a huge fan, and I've also been a great admirer. And I think you and Yolanda were meant to have this child.
There's no doubt about that.
Yes, that was a God
There
thing.
is no doubt about that, Johnny. I'm not saying anything she wouldn't agree with me if she were sitting here. We don't talk out of school about each other. We both know we probably wouldn't still be together if it weren't for our kids, and particularly our daughter. I mean, our son too, but our daughter was kind of she was this anchor point because we had to really figure out how to be co-caregivers, and we are real good at it. Like there's an 80% divorce rate among people with children with special needs.
Yes.
People don't realize, man, it just wreaks havoc on a marriage. And why we ended up in that 20%, we don't know. Like if you had put it all on paper, there's really no reason we would have made it. We weren't those people. We were like real surface level. My wife worked for a record label and I was a singer-songwriter, and we were like always, going out on expense accounts, and we went to all the parties and we drank champagne on a Wednesday night. We were like those people,
right?
We were partiers, and we would go to Vegas for fun, and we would go to New York just to shop for clothes. Real surface level people. We were not, these.
So
in
bougie.
fact, we were bougie, man, 100% bougie, and unapologetic about it. Like we didn't even care, and we put on our application when we applied to adopt. Do you think you could handle a child with a disability? And we were like, not just no, but hell no. Like we are not those people. You can't. And we became those people, and found out that we were in fact those people. And so when people tell me, I could never do what you do, I'm like, yeah, you could. And if you couldn't, you're probably a really bad person. Because trust me, if we can do it, anybody can do it. But we, man, we just locked arms. And you're right. We know that this was God's gift to us.
Yes.
And a hand on our life. And it's all meant to be that way. And we have become a couple that we're glad we became. And the people, we always say we're kind of just standing behind Isabella, our daughter. We're just trying to be as good of a person as she is, because she's very loving. It's unconditional. She wants to hug everybody and kiss everybody, and that's her gift to the world. And so I'm trying to learn from her and she really keeps it simple in such a wonderful way. It's just all, well, I'm gonna love you, and I'll start there.
Yeah,
we'll start with love, and then we'll see where it goes. But I think we're gonna stay with love, and I'm trying to stay in that, and it's getting harder and harder.
That's called life.
The world makes it harder and harder,
Well, where can people get your blog, for one?
It's just Regie Hamm blog, honestly.
Yeah.
REGI, it's 1G, REGIEHAMM, 2 M's blog. And you can it's a WordPress blog, and you can just follow me there. And then I have a Patreon site if people want to get involved in that. And it's all Regie Hamm. You can just find it all through Regie Hamm.
And that's where they can get your music as well.
Yeah, and I'm working on an OnlyFans site where I.
We're doing that too.
We were doing that too.
Yeah, we're doing that too, Reggie.
Wow.
We didn't tell you this, but there is an OnlyFans portion of the podcast.
Okay. That's
right.
That we'll be hitting on in a minute. So you may want to get ready.
No, I oiled up.
Yeah.
So,
well, actually, no, it's going to be one of the services is blowing smoke.
Somebody's, yeah.
well, I was going to say, if you want to come blow smoke up my rear end on the OnlyFans site, I got a whole niche, group of people who are,
and it's affordable.
That's a phrase. Where did that come from?
I don't know.
I am right with you. I've never understood how that's good for anybody.
I don't either.
You know what I mean? I'm not just blowing smoke. It's like, I don't want you to.
I don't want you anywhere near there. That's exit only, baby.
Everything has an origin.
But even if it weren't smoke,
Right.
Yeah. Why?
you know what I mean?
Wrong place.
Off the charts has a meaning. It meant that musicians are playing off the charts.
Yes, exactly.
And then on your soapbox is an actual soapbox.
Yeah,
Why
right.
was it a soapbox? I don't know. Was it still filled of soap?
But
is it more
blowing
supportive?
smoke up your ass, where is that from?
Yeah, I have no idea.
We're Victorian people blowing smoke up each other's butt. You know what I mean?
I think it came from politicians. I guess where it came from. But keep making the music, because I was listening to 24-Hour Conspiracy coming in this morning through the show. And man, you just make some great music.
Thank you.
And you got a fan here, and I hope that we get more heading your way.
Well, it's coming your way, man. I'm working on getting the new record out here, so I'll let you know.
Well,
Okay.
let us know when you do.
Please do.
I have an answer.
Oh,
It's actually blowing smoke up your butt.
Of course, there's an answer.
There is. It's an AI overview, so with that in consideration. Originates from the literal medical practice of the tobacco smoke enema in the 17th and 18th centuries, used to treat conditions like constipation and to resuscitate near-drowned victims.
So everything's got a medical. It's like circling the drain. Man.
so they were teaching people how to do this
Right.
in medical school.
Here's what you do.
Okay.
Watch this.
What do you got? What you got today, Jack? I've got smoke up the butt class at 3. What part are you guys to? Well, we're inserting we're learning how to insert the instrument, and then you know what I mean? It's like people had to learn how to do that, right?
And because of your fanaticism for Marlboro,
Yeah.
you're the lucky guy.
So what were you today? Well, I was the smoker. So
I'm the
it takes
Marlboro
to
man.
do this right, it really takes 2 people. So hold him down.
Yeah, who gets
okay,
to
I'm
be,
lighting the cigarettes.
Yeah.
Hold him down. Hold him down. Hold him down. Hang on. Let me get this.
Here we go.
Let me get this lit. Okay. Hold him down. Hold him down. Look, his life depends on this.
That's right. He's drowning.
And people don't know that's where the where people blow the smoke rings. That's called circling the drain.
There we go.
Man, full circle moment.
That's
Johnny.
right. Reggie, thanks so much for being on this with
Man,
us today.
Thanks for having me.
And tell them where they can catch us there, Brother Jay.
Absolutely. Of course, all of the podcast platforms for listening, we're there, but you can also find us, of course, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and we're on Twitch as well. So that's where you can see our lovely faces and the lovely faces of our guests.
Yes, indeed. And circlingthedrain.net.
That's
Don't
correct.
forget that.
And merchandise coming soon.
Oh, baby, hang on and come back for the next episode of Circling the Drain.